right, everybody, shalom. Shalom, shalom. This is Brother Yeshaya.
Brother Azrael.
From the Hopeful Elect, coming at you with another Wisdom Wednesday. And today's message, first and foremost, we want to give all praise, glory, and honor be to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Today's message, you can see the title, Having a Good Wife, right? And it just stems from a conversation. It just stems from a conversation that we had this past Sunday at our Purim gathering with some of the elders, right? So I know brothers did a series on becoming a wife and abstaining from yourselves, and we have plenty of series on good women and everything. This is not a lesson towards women and how to conduct yourselves if you want a husband, like the brothers just did last series, but this is more so for men, understanding the powers in having a woman by their side, right? So we can go into the scriptures real quick, brother, if you can pull up that first one. So this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 18 and verse 22. And it reads, "Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord." So I know that we didn't seen Salakia for the noise in the background as well. My wife is dealing with the children, but it says, "Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord." So all it is saying that when you have a wife, man, the Lord has favor on your life. I don't think that any man who's married, let me say it this way. Any man who's married to a woman who desires to keep the commandments of the Most High and is totally understanding of what it is to be a wife and embodying that role of being such, I think that every man that has that at home sleeps peacefully at night, And I think that every man that has such would pray that other men have the same. Shalom to the brother Danal.
Shalom.
But again, not to tarry too long on one precept, there's so many more that we're going to go over just to show the importance of, when it comes to being a man, having a wife, right? So if you can, brother, wait, you got anything to add before I just jump?
Not yet.
Brothers, Khan. So you can jump to the book of Genesis, chapter 2, and start at verse number 18. Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. You don't got to click on the verse.
All right.
So we can just read it from this, right? So starting here, right, it says, Genesis 2 and 18, it says, "And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make an helpmeet for him," right? Because we know that Adam was, working the ground. He was the tiller of the ground, and he needed a helpmeet. So the Most High made a helpmeet for Adam, right? And let me jump down to verse number, we can jump down to verse number 22. Salakia. Verse number 22, and it reads, it says, "And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man, made he a woman, and brought her unto the man." So I know a lot of Israelites in the truth, and I've seen people outside the truth say they hate when they call their wife their rib. I'm not no meal or nothing, but this is where it comes from. But it says right here that the Most High formed woman out of a man, right? Verse 23, "And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man." Verse 24, it says, "Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh," right? Now, the reason that we're reading this passage right here in Genesis chapter 2 is because we want to establish what the Most High had set up from the beginning of time. And that's to make a woman to be a helpmeet for a man. If you cannot, go to the book of SRA Chapter 36 and verse number 22. SRA Chapter 36 and verse 22. Because we want to, Salakia, verse 24, verse 24, Salakia. SRA 36 and 24, and it says, he that getteth a wife beginneth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest, right? So when you get a wife, this is what you are receiving, a helpmeet, a pillar of rest, somebody who the Most High ordained to be one flesh with you, right? Just like we read in Proverbs 18 and 22, he that findeth him a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord. And again, all this stems from a conversation that we had this past Sunday with some mighty elders, that fellowship with us in our Purim feast, our Purim gathering, whatever you have it. And some of the things that were mentioned is, being blessed enough to have a woman that desires to keep the commandments of the Lord and desires to embody the role of what being a wife is, embodies to be that helpmeet, that pillar of rest unto her husband. Which is why I said every man that has that, they may sleep good at night, And I know marriage, I'm not going to get into the understanding of, how to endure temptation in marriage, because I know marriage can go through its trials and tribulations. Nobody's above being tempted by Satan, right? Spirits can come in, cause confusion and everything. Sometimes you may be like, man, my wife tripping. But at the end of the day, all in all, when it's all said and done, when you think about the type of woman that you have, and you think about how she's lining up with these very scriptures that we're reading, you begin to praise the Most High for having a woman that is so in line with such. It's hard to complain that you have a woman that literally does everything for you. And I don't mean like to our people who may view this who don't understand what the truth is. I'm not saying that a woman is pretty much like a slave in the lamest terms to a man. And I'm saying that with the mindset of what the world thinks a slave is today, right? But a woman is a helpmeet unto a man, right? And we're going to get into more precepts about exactly what I'm saying. If you can, anybody got anything to ask, Lucky? Con. If you can, go up to the book of SRA Chapter 25 and verse 1. And we'll come back to chapter 36 too. We'll come back to chapter 36. Right? This is SRA 25 and 1, or the book of Ecclesiasticus. And it says, in three things I was beautified and stood up beautiful both before God and men. One is the unity of brethren, right? It's been a while, and I know we was all on last week, but it's been a while since all three brothers been on, the live stream together. And it's a beautiful thing when we are all able to get on here and add on to the knowledge and wisdom that's coming forth, right? The unity of brethren. It says the love of neighbors, right? Being able to love your neighbor as thyself, which is the second greatest commandment out of the mouth of Christ, right? Because on that and love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and all thy soul and all thy mind, right? On those two hang all the law and commandments. And the last one it says right here, it says a man and a wife that agree together. There is nothing that stands up. Salaki, I'm not going to say nothing, but those three things right there stands up both beautiful before God and men, right? A man and a wife that agree together. That's important because in this day and age, we was just talking to a brother at camp last week, and we just had to ask the question of going through the curses. Who leads the nation as, race is applied according to the United States of America? Who leads the nation in the most divorced household, the most single-parent households, right? What ethnicity has the highest divorce rate? When you begin to search up these statistics and you look at our people and you see how things are set up in a sense, child support, what's that thing that Margaret Sanger set up? Planned Parenthood, right? Yeah. You got to think about all the things that go into the destruction and demise of our people. So when you're able to find a woman that is able to overcome the obstacles and adversity, mentally, physically, and spiritually, that was set up to divide the so-called Israelite household, you'll begin to realize how much of a blessing it is to have a woman that wants to live a life that's pleasing unto the Most High. And as the Most High stated, a life that's pleasing unto the Most High is when a woman is in subjection unto her husband in a righteous manner. Because by doing so, she's in subjection unto the Lord.
And it says in these three things was the Most High beautified, man. These three things, when you see these three things in person and you see it as reality, man, off rip, you think it's something special. I can't count how many times. It's only three of us that be out on the street, when we go and we evangelize or whatever. And I can't count how many times we get complimented. I just love seeing y'all unified. I just love seeing what y'all got going here. The spirit is definitely here. And, for our brothers that have larger bodies of people out on the street, they get it as well, because something about the unification of brothers just brings peace to people, right? So that's how he's beautified. Also, when you do an act of kindness, like loving your neighbor, man, that's beautiful, right? But like this lesson is about, a man and a wife that agree together, right? When you see a couple that, they finish each other's sentences, they know what each other likes and what they dislike, and you can kind of just see how they operate in person, that right there will show people, and people, what comes to people's mind is, dang, God is in the midst of that relationship, right? Whether it be any nation, that thought comes to mind, like, dang, God has to be in that relationship for them to be operating that well. And I say that because everybody's struggling, everybody's looking, everybody's searching for a soulmate that agrees with them. People spend money on counseling just to agree together. People watch endless podcasts to come to some type of agreement. People take advice from older people and married people all the time, go on retreats and all of that, just to be a man and a wife that agree together. So we see that, the earth is yearning for that, or just the whole scripture of he saw that Adam was lonely and it wasn't good. We see that that's prominent today. And that's why it's so important to realize what you have, if you do have that, right? Because a lot of times we can make up scenarios in our mind to where we just think it's not the perfect relationship, and we argue a lot, and we don't see eye to eye on small little things. But for the most part, man, especially if you're in the knowledge of this truth and you guys agree on how to raise kids, you guys agree on how you're steering your household, you guys agree on financial decisions and things of that nature, and that's hard to come by, right? Back then and right now. So, that definitely is something to be appreciative of all the time.
Con. It ain't no better feeling, man, than, like the brother said, being the same page spiritually, with your spouse. That's why when you go back to Genesis 2, it says the two twain shall be one flesh, right? And it's nothing like having that feeling of one fleshness. And brothers know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? It's just that moment where you and your wife is on the same page, and you didn't even have a prior conversation about said topic, but you just agree off the muscle, or you just say the same thing at the same time in one accord with one another. That's that moment where you like, man, all praise is for my wife. Brothers have their moments a lot, and that's why it's important to understand why. No, I said that backwards. This is why it is important to understand the topic of having a good wife, because there's so many things that we're about to go over that explains what a good wife is, right? Brother, if you can, go to the book of SRA Chapter 26. SRA 26. We can start at verse number start at verse number 1, right? It says, blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be doubled. And it is a beautiful thing to know that because I have a wife, the number of my days shall be multiplied, man. A man's days is like the brother read, 120? I want to say that's in Psalms. Is that 120 that you read, or 100 in Psalms, Azrael?
I can't remember.
Something of that nature, right? So a man's days isn't long on this earth, right? And if you go to the book of SRA Chapter 40, you know what I'm saying? If you go to SRA Chapter 40, it talks about a man's miseries and what makes a man stay up at night, what causes a man to have gray hair, what causes stress, right? All these things are, I guess you could say, almost nullified to an extent when you have a virtuous wife, because the number of your days will be doubled, right? It says, verse 2, a virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. This is what I mean when I say, when you think about the miseries of man in Sirach 40, but you have a virtuous wife, hey, you read Sirach 26, 1 and 2, man, you can just see how different your life is from maybe a brother who's single, or maybe a brother who's courting, or maybe a brother who is married, but he's not married to a virtuous woman. You know, he may be married to a promiscuous woman. And that's a Sirach too, you know, a wicked wife is given unto a portion of a wicked man. But if you're a man who repented and is striving to keep the commandments and your wife isn't on the same page, doesn't necessarily just mean you're a wicked dude. You could have been, but the only thing you can do in situations like that is continue to fast and continue to pray and continue to do everything you can spiritually, physically, to help bring your wife into the knowledge, and pray that the Most High open her eyes to see and her ears to hear. Because reading these short 2 verses right here, this is a blessing, right? Nothing short of a blessing. Verse 3, it says, a good wife is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear the Lord. So last week on Freestyle Friday, we talked about the fear of the Lord. This is one of the things you get when you fear the Most High. This is something that we can add to what we just built on last week Friday. If you fear the Most High by keeping His law, statutes, and commandments in spirit and in truth, the Most High will give you a good wife, and she'll be a good portion. Because Proverbs 18 and 22, he that findeth the wife findeth the good thing. You know, and it's nothing more than understanding that when you have a good wife, you know what I'm saying, such as your woman, such as one that's striving to keep the commandments of the Lord, again, you will understand how peaceful it really is. And that's why verse 2 is so impactful. Let's jump. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say too, you know, and that really, you know, puts in perspective that self-evaluation is needed to obtain a good wife. A lot of brothers will, personally, a lot of brothers come to us 3 brothers because they see that we have wives and they want to know how to get a wife or where they're at. But a lot of self-evaluation has to go into play, man. You know, if you don't really fear the Lord, meaning you don't really watch your actions that you do on a daily basis, I mean, the Most High is going to give you what He feels like you're ready for. If He feels like you're too childish, He feels like you're too wild, He feels like you're too mean, He's not going to give you a God-fearing woman. Why would He give you a daughter of Zion just so you can misuse and abuse her, right? So you have to self-evaluate and ask yourself, do I really fear the Lord? And what does fearing the Lord look like? It looks like going above and beyond the laws, right? Having that circumcision of the heart, right? Being able to have discipline within your life and chastise yourself, right? Take accountability for things that you know that you should be, that are not expedient for you, right? And then verse 2, like the brother said, you know, fulfill the years of your life in peace. You know, I was watching something with my rib last night, actually, and the people that we were watching were going through a heartbreak because one of them had cheated on the other, right? And that, you know, brings to mind, think about when you was in high school, college. Think about when you was in middle school and you had your first heartbreak. Think about how bad that felt. And just know that there are grown adults living that pain every day. You don't want to have that pain every day. That's not a life of peace, right? When you have a good woman, a good wife, like the title of this video says, you're gonna live your life in peace. You're gonna be able to sleep at night. You know, when you had them heartbreaks and you just couldn't sleep because you're that pissed off, or you're that agitated or irritated, right? Or you just have questions that need answering, right? When you have a good wife, you're not gonna have any questions that need answering, because a good wife is gonna answer your questions before you even have them. Right? When I get home from work, I don't have to tell my wife that I'm hungry. There's already a plate in the microwave. All I got to do is press start, right? And that's some of the benefits of having a good wife. And brothers, you know, I know brothers want that, but like I said, self-evaluation comes into play. It's given in portion to those that actually fear the Lord.
Right. Hey, man, you know, and the world would make it seem like the action of that right there, like what the brother just said. You get home from a long day of work, and if you had the job, I'm not gonna put the brother out with it, man. If you had to do the job that he has to do after a long day of work, who wants to come home and now I gotta cook my own food? I got a wife at home and she made dinner for herself. She didn't make nothing for me, and I gotta come home after doing what the brother does all day, and I gotta make my own food. Man, that would be a curse. That wouldn't be having a life of peace, you know. That would be something that'll vex you 10 times more. Because it's nothing like going out and slaving, you know what I'm saying, for the man, and then now you got to come home, you got to deal with all manner of folly at your house, specifically with your woman. There's nothing peaceful in that. And that action right there, like the brother said, of having a woman who says, "My Lord is out working. I made dinner. Let me put him his plate in the microwave so when he gets home, all he has to do is warm it up." You know what I'm saying? The world will make it seem like, "Oh, girl, you would pick me. You doing too much. You tripping. Or he supposed to do that for you."
He can't go into the refrigerator and make his own plate.
Right. Like, and that's why, again, we're talking about specifically virtuous women, man. Not talking about every woman, because at the end of the day, again, it says, "Blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be doubled." It didn't say blessed is the man that just has a wife. It said a virtuous wife, right?
Man. A lot of that reason too, man. If you guys are in tune with what's going on nowadays, and possibly, you know, fast, a lot of the reason why it's saying this is that, you know, like the numbers of his days shall be double, right? He shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. Is mainly because stress is, you know, one of the number one killers in America, right? It's an article that you can just Google. It says that stress is linked to 6 leading causes of death, including heart diseases, cancer, lung ailments, accidents, along with liver and suicide, corrosions or whatever, right? Just saying that stress can lead to all this stuff, man, right? And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. A lot of guys, stress affects a lot of guys because we're so prideful. We keep stuff in, we bottle it up, right? I mean, it's pretty evident that women outlive men. Probably because you guys, you know, handle stress a little bit better. But what better than a woman to take that stress off a man, especially if women can handle stress better, right? You guys are supposed to be the pillar of rest. You guys are supposed to be the ones to alleviate your men from having those long days, right? And the good thing about having a woman in this truth is that, you know, we have somebody that's detached from the world, that's unplugged from the matrix, right? The little stuff shouldn't bother her, right? Like the stuff that bother the regular women on social media, right? You shouldn't be worried about your man being the sole proprietor in the family, right? You should be thinking one flesh like. We got a house to provide for, and we got to knock it out. We got to find a way, even if that means I got to take a double shift, even if that means I got to provide, right? We got to get out of those the matrix of the world, detach ourselves from the rat race, right? And think as a unit, like Brother Tobit and his wife, when he became blind, and his wife took it upon herself to quote unquote be the man in the relationship, right? And it's not her being the man in the relationship, it's her being that pillar of rest for her husband, and doing what's required of her to keep everything afloat, to keep everything rolling, right? And all of that is going to give you a double of days and a fulfillment of years in peace when you have a woman like that you don't have to constantly remind her to get with the program. She just knows to do it.
God. And that's why, again, man, like the brother said, you can't make this up. Like when you see the wisdom that's given in the word, right? And you see, as it was prophesied in the beginning in Genesis chapter 2, two twain shall be one flesh, right? I will make a helpmeet unto him, a helpmeet like himself, right? So you gotta appreciate, when you have a good woman. And if there's any brothers that's watching this and saying, well, dang, man, how do I get one? Like the brother said, if you can jump to 2 Corinthians, dang, I just lost it. It was 2 Corinthians, I want to say 11. Hold on, let me pull it back up. 2 Corinthians 13 and 5, right? 2 Corinthians 13 and 5. Because remember, I think it says in Sirach, I think later on down in the 25th chapter, it says a wicked woman is given to a portion of a wicked man. So sometimes when you feel like, maybe you just transitioned into the knowledge of the truth, or maybe you've been in the truth, but the woman that you married is giving you all manner of saying, this is what you got to do. 2 Corinthians 13 and 5. I think this 1 Corinthians.
Oh, yeah.
All right. (13 and 5). This is what it says right here. It says, examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith, right? Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that read it is written, how that Jesus Christ is in you, except ye be reprobates, right? And it says in verse 6, but I trust that ye shall know that we are not reprobates, right? So everybody ain't a reprobate. You have to understand, when you accept the law, statutes, and commandments, right? And you begin to follow the laws of the Most High God and the example that Christ gave to do such things, you have to examine yourself all over again and make sure that anything that you do on a day-to-day basis doesn't contribute to the reprobate mindset of your wife. Maybe you came into the truth and you love worldly music, but you came into the truth, you started keeping the laws, you do everything. But maybe you still play your NBA Youngboy, play your Lil Baby, play what's that new rap dude that got that hot song right now? And he was like, I didn't pay attention to school, so now I'm trying to dodge a sentence. Want to boss up your life? All you got to do is get in with me. I don't know the rap dude name, but you play these songs, right? Maybe when you play these songs, see you and your wife is on the same page having a good time. But when you begin to read the word, you begin to see that spirit change. Maybe you got to find out, hey, what am I doing wrong? Or what am I still holding on to? Or what is it that I need to do in order to, have this type of peace? You just got to examine yourself. If you're the type of brother that like that music and you see your wife likes it too, but she not in the walk, she not on the path that you take it, you got to cut that music off. You got to start setting the atmosphere. If you beat your wife to the house, you got to start setting the atmosphere, man, and turn on some of that truth music. Turn on some of that Darax. Turn on some of that Hezekiah, Turn on a lot of these brothers who are out here making music, to, I guess, heal the spirit, right? That's spiritual healing music. Because at the end of the day, these blessings are not to be taken for granted. And to be someone who receives these blessings, even if you feel like you ain't worthy enough, is something that you should always give praise to the Most High for, right? Let's go back to Sirach 26 real quick. Right. So the book of Sirach, chapter 26. Let's read on. And it says, verse 4, It says, whether a man be rich or poor, if he have a good heart toward the Lord, he shall at all times rejoice with a cheerful countenance. And I know this is not specifically talking about a wife, but I wanted to read this because the next precept that I'm going to ask the brother to go to is in Proverbs chapter 31. Right? Proverbs chapter 31 says, whether a man be rich or poor, if he have a good heart toward the Lord, he's always going to be able to go through any situation with a cheerful countenance. Right? And we can start at verse number 10 in Proverbs 31. Because remember, SRA 26 started off by saying, blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 10, it says, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies, right? It says, the heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil, right? When you have a woman, right, if you can't trust her, man, you got plenty of room for spoil, right? If you don't trust your wife, man, you're going to live a life full of stress, because when she's out, them insecurities going to kick in. Who she's with, what she's doing. Is she cheating on me? Is she setting me up? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Right? Verse 12, it says, she will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. Jump down real quick to...
Hey, man, that's a tough one. It says all the days of her life.
Right.
That means not a day goes by where she ain't trying to do good for her man. You know, some women, you know, they might hold a grudge, or they might, you know, be petty and then ask for forgiveness later on. But a virtuous woman, all the days of her life, she's gonna look to do some good for her man. So if you have a wife that literally does good for you every day, you can count, or you can think of something good that she's done for you every day. You gotta be thankful for that, man. You gotta understand that you got a virtuous woman, and they're very hard to find out here, especially in 2024.
Hey, check this out. We're gonna jump right back to that. But look, verse 13, right? It says, she seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. And then I'm gonna jump down to verse 15. It says, she riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household and a portion to her maidens. Right? This is a virtuous woman we're talking about. Like the brother said, all the days of her life, she's looking to do good and not evil towards her husband, right? Because she's a virtuous woman. And go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know, there was a I don't know if it was a podcast or a skit or something, but yeah, I think it was a podcast, and they one woman asked another woman, your man asked you to make a sandwich at 3 a.m, what you doing? And the girl was like, I'm making a sandwich. Look, she rises also, this biblical rises in the nighttime to give meat to her household. And that's a tough pill to swallow, right when you comfortable in your sheets and you comfortable in your bed, or you watching a show, or you know, you scrolling on your phone. You don't want to get up, and your husband says, hey, I feel like that leftover plate. You mind heating it up for me? You mind making me a sandwich? And a million thoughts go through your mind, right? You're thinking, I'm not a slave. You're thinking, why can't you just get up and go do it? I just got comfortable. But a virtuous wife, man, if you have a wife that's going to get up in the middle of the night, just know, like I said before, you got a good thing, because it's scary out here for men, right? A lot of women is not doing that.
Yeah, I just seen a video today, man. This guy, he's with the Nation of Islam, but he was saying
Ben X?
Huh? No.
Ben X?
No, his name is Tez. It's a light-skinned brother. And he was saying, you know, he's dated many women before. And he was like, and, you know, I've dated many women of all types of backgrounds. And, you know, me, I'm Nation of Islam. And it's my first time doing Ramadan this year. And you know, the whole 30 days, you know, I did it in the past, but I ain't never do it the whole 30 days. And one of the reasons why I was able to complete it is because I'm with a woman for the first time, you know, other than my mom. She's willing to get up at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning and cook me breakfast before the sun come up so I can start my day with something in my stomach. I ain't never had no woman ever do that for me. And that right there, the commitment that she showed me for me to have something in my stomach on a fast that I'm willing to do, and she not necessarily with Ramadan, man, that right there let me know that she was the one and she deserved my loyalty. But just knowing that, because the brother, if you follow him on Instagram, I think he's like something Tez, but he's really big into entrepreneurship, and he was going on about how he always be stressed throughout the day and how Ramadan is hard for him because he be stressed and that makes him even more hungry and this, that, and the third, and he be extra tired. And he was just saying how she did that for him, really took a load off of his day. But just saying that, man, just bringing that up, just saying, man, you know, sometimes women just naturally have it in them. Of course, they were he was in the Nation of Islam, but how much more are women in the truth, right? That actually believe the principles of this Bible, and just seeing that it's supposed to be within you, right? Especially if you fear the Lord, those are the traits that you're supposed to have, man. We can't let other walks of life outdo us. And just seeing how much joy and how much satisfaction it brought that brother, man. I just wish and pray that all the brothers in the truth that actually fear the Lord can witness that as well. But
like the brother said, I mean, hey, some women just got that dog in them. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that to be like as counted as a shamefaced dog, like it says in Sirach, but I'm saying like, you know, they're able to, like it says in verse 17, scroll down just a little bit. It says, she girded her loins with strength and strengthened her arms.
Talk that talk, George.
Hey, some women just pull they big girl pants up and they get to work. Yeah. For their man, for their kingdom, for their nation. Even like the brother said, even across other walks of life, you see the same thing with women holding down the fort, man. Like the brother said, they watch Game of Thrones, and you see a lot of time on Game of Thrones, them women are like, hey, they zealous for they king, for their nation.
Yeah, you know, when you look at a lot of these former kingdoms and a lot of Eastern world mindsets, right? Them women are robots, man. You know what I'm saying? They don't think. That's one problem with our women. I know this video is not about problems with our women, but the problem with our women on this side of the earth is, right, they're always thinking too much, right? And they start clouding their judgment when they think, why am I doing this? Why he can't do it? He's so lazy. That's thinking too much. A good wife, she's not going to think. She's going to gird her loins and she's just going to do it. She's going to get up and she's moving before her mind can even start thinking. And by the time she even starts to get irritated, she's already done. Right? And so if you have a wife, once again, if you got a wife that, you know, she folds the clothes, right? Or you got a wife that when she sees something needs to get done, she just does it and she don't ask you or she don't wait and procrastinate. You got a wife like that, you got a good wife, right? And you need to be thankful for that. Because once again, they not out here. They not out here like that.
Hey.
And the thing is, and like we were talking this week, you know, it could be taken for granted because it happens every day for you, right? The brother Denal posted something on his story of a woman that she made a reel and how she was taking care of her husband and her son or whatever. And you can take it for granted because it's normal, but let you step in somebody else's house and see how they operate and you'll realize real fast, I got a good wife.
Man. And like the brother said, man, you know, when you begin to see how your wife operates, like sometimes, bro, you just got to sit back and just look at your wife when she's in that mode, like when she's cleaning something or she's cooking something or she's handling the kids, you know what I'm saying, taking care of them. You just got to be grateful for it, man. You know what I'm saying? And you got to appreciate that because, like you say, like we just said, man, some women they just got that dog in them, and not the shame-faced dog, but the type of dog that, you know, hey, the Most High may accept in the tabernacle. You know, she girded her loins with strength and strengthened her arms, man. And there's not many women out here that, as a man, when you're going through hardships and when you're going through, you know, financial unstableness, as a man, you know, you want to be the provider, you want to be the leader, you want to be the head of household and take care of all the bills. Sometimes, man, when you may be in between jobs and you got a wife that's willfully holding the fort down and doing it with a smile on her face, and not just to make it look good for the people, but she's doing it because she wants to honor her husband as the Most High enlightened women too. Hey, that's a blessing. That's that peace that you get that it mentions in Sirach 26, right? And I like you said, it's not a lesson to talk about what women should do to be this kind of wife. You know, it's not a lesson to bash women either, but it's more so of a lesson to encourage brothers to find this type of woman. Get with this type of woman. We don't need no more, you know, hot girls. We don't need no more baby mamas, man. We need wives, right? We need daughters of Zion. We need virtuous women. And the only way they'll begin to act in that manner is if we begin to act as husbands. We can't be acting like plain old niggas, you know, excuse my language, but we can't be acting like plain old niggas and then expect to be given this, you know, this royal queen. Like the brother Azrael said earlier, you think the Most High really gonna bless you with a virtuous wife, but you out here, you know what I'm saying, playing in women's face, you know, you out here doing the unthinkable, having all types of unlawful manner of intercourse, but yet at the same time, you're gonna get a virtuous woman.
Not only that, you know, just hanging around unvirtuous women, right? You want a good wife, why are you hanging around unvirtuous women? Right? Just because they look good. You're not gonna get a virtuous wife that way.
Right. I don't know who it was that Dr. Umar said it to. I forgot. I don't know if it was DJ Envy or another guy. I don't think it was DJ Envy, but it was another guy he was talking to on a podcast. And Dr. Umar, you know, he's pro-African, you know, he's pro-black on black. So the dude was like, you know, he's a black dude and he married a white woman. And the dude said, well, it's not that I just, you know, went looking for her. It just happened, you know. And the dude, Dr. Umar, was like, but how can you say you for your people all the way if you don't marry, you know, you within your own race? He was just like, because helping my people has nothing to do with my love life. But Dr. Umar said, but who directly benefits the most from, you know, your economic impact that you have on the community? Is it your wife or is it your people? And then he said, it's my wife. And he said, see, when you want a certain type of woman, you go surround yourself with those type of women, right? And that's what basically the brother just saying. If you want a virtuous wife, you got to start finding the women who are out here dressing modestly. You got to find the women who everybody really ain't looking for. Because see, everybody right now is looking at the half-naked women. And they may not want to look at them to marry them, but they may look at them out of lust and say, man, I want to sleep with that. So when you see that and everybody's eyes is turned toward that unvirtuous woman, you got to go, remember, examine yourself. Say, no, this ain't what I need. Especially if you a man that didn't, you know what I'm saying, did a lot of fornication back in your day, man, you done been there, done that. These women ain't got nothing to offer, and you know that. At this point, you just getting your rocks off. And you don't need to be getting your rocks off, brother, because that ain't going to bring you a life full of peace. The only thing that'll bring you a life full of peace is having a virtuous wife, keeping the commandments of the Lord. And let me not be naive. Sometimes virtuous women do run into ungodly men. But through her actions, through her lifestyle and her obedience to the Most High, she's able to convert, you know, her husband into following the same, to being a law keeper. And it speaks on that in, I want to say Corinthians 2. Paul speaks on that because the unbelieving husband is saved by the believing wife, you know. But before we end this, go down real quick. I wanted to hit on something. Right. right here, verse 22. It says she maketh herself, no, Salakia, verse 23. It says her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land, right? This is how, you know what I'm saying, you know you have a virtuous wife. Your wife would be doing such a good job at being a woman, people will notice that. And they'll be like, you married to so-and-so, so-and-so? You know what I'm saying? It's how it operates all the time, you know? And that's just a blessing, another blessing that's added unto you as a man when you find you a good wife, because the first precept we read was Proverbs 18 and 22. And it says, he that findeth the wife findeth the good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord. Right?
Man, I say this humbly, but a lot of brothers that we know from the hopeful elect, give us reverence when they see us, and we're known because of our families, right? That's not trying to boast that, the hopeful elect, we have the best families in the nation. No, I'm not saying that, but if I'm being honest, we do get a lot of brothers and sisters that commend us for the families that we do have, right? Says her husband is known in the gates, right? When we think about our nation of Israel, right? Are you known in the nation of Israel? It don't matter how big you are or small you are, but are you known? Do people know you, and what do they know you for? It says when he sitteth among the elders of the land, right? When you sit among the elders, the teachers, and the people of your nation, right? Do they know you for good things? Do they know you for having your house in order? Or do they, talk behind your back and say that brother kind of wilding? I can't believe that brother let his wife do X, Y, and Z. Dang, that brother, man, I don't know. He might not be in it. No, you're supposed to, be known for good things. And one of the good things is being able to pick a good woman and to also broadcast that you have a good woman by the way that your family is, because a woman is a keeper of the house, right? People will know if you have a good woman based off of your house and how you and your family operate, right?
Con. Hey, go real quick to 1 Corinthians 11, because that was going to be what I was going to close with anyway, because you said order, right? And that's all praise to the Most High, because you said it, and that's one of the words that I was looking for when I was elaborating on, being known when you sit among the elders, man, being in order. Sometimes it's having your household in order, and they see that, and people know that, and you'll get reverence, right? Not in worship way, as in Latreia, you know what I'm saying, but in a sense that, hey, you're doing a great job of having things in order as it should be. So this is 1 Corinthians 11 and 3, right? It says, but I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God. So I wanted to read this to close out in this chapter specifically because a virtuous woman accepts this, right? A virtuous woman accepts her role as the weaker vessel, like it mentions in, I think, Ephesians 5, right? Or maybe 1 Peter. But regardless of, you know what I'm saying, anything else, when you read this should be the embodiment. This should be the exact structure and the way this household should be set up. The Most High at the top, Christ, the man, the women, and then you got the children underneath. They'll fall in line and they respectful places when that time comes. But that anything outside of this is vanity and it's abomination. Because nowadays, women think they have to lead the household, and that's a misconception too. And I'm not going to be long-winded with this, but I'll just say this real quick. That's a misconception. Women think that they are the leaders of the household just because they're put in situations where the father is absent, right? Whether you be a widow, whether you be unmarried and had a child out of wedlock, whether you be a victim of any type of unlawful crime, things happen, right? But understand that Even if you're a single mother and you out here making it happen and you hustling, don't get it confused. Just because there's no man around does not mean that you are the head. And if another man comes into your life, he has to listen to you. Just because you've been doing things this way. Like that's like T.I. in that movie ATL. Hey, be clear, this is my daddy's house. I've been running things here since I was 15. You just getting over. Like when you're a woman and you have a man that's wanting to be with you, you got to submit to that and follow this structure. Because see, if you allow the order and structure of a household as it's supposed to be aligned, not only will you make that man's life peaceful, but your life will also be peaceful as well, right? So I'm gonna jump down to verse number. Can you jump down, Baba Kashada, verse number 8? I want to say. I'm gonna skip over the controversial, verses because I don't want to get into that. But I will say this, verse 8. It says, "For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man." It says, "And neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man." Right? So again, understand this. This is why we go and read, accounts beforehand, because when we get back to saying the same thing later on in the text, you can go reference Genesis 2 when it talks about how Eve was created for Adam. Or you can go to 1 Corinthians 11:9. It says, "Neither was man created for the woman, but woman created for the man." Again, go back to Genesis chapter 2.
So if you ever find yourself as a woman, if you ever find yourself in life contemplating if the relationship you have with your husband, is it fair or not, right? If you think he should be putting in more, if you think you do the majority of the things around the house, things of that nature, just ask yourself, man, am I doing what the precept says that says, happily will I find myself to fight against the will of God? Because the will of God is that the woman was created to help the man, right? Not saying that the man should just be, a lazy, no good for nothing, But what I'm saying is, man, a lot of times Satan will get in our women's heads. Now I'm talking about not ours in particular, but women in general in the nation. He'll get in their heads and start saying stuff like, "I always do this. He never does this. That's not fair," right? And start doing the comparison between you and your husband, not really realizing that the will of God is for you to be a helpmeet to your husband, right? Now, it is the will of God for him to be appreciative, right? But at the end of the day, man, these are, what are we supposed to do with, and this is the New Testament too, what are we supposed to be doing with these two precepts, right? Just act like they're not there. And we can't just go off of our own feelings. We have to put them into play. And when we understand that the woman was created for the man, that's why it's woe man, right? The woman was created after the man. The woman was created of the man to help the man out. And that's just plainly the will of God, right? And just to harp on what the brother's been saying, forgot which is, I think it might be in Timothy, where it talks about, hey man, a man shouldn't even be going out on the street teaching if his household isn't in order, right? It says, how can you get the church of God in order? You can't even get your household in order. And a lot of women don't realize that you are you're holding your man back from doing what he's called for, right? Not only maybe he's well, let's just put it like this, right? Just the stress thing, right? When the house ain't in order, when you bucking up against your husband, right? You're not being for him and you want him to be for you. You just causing chaos and stress, right? It takes away from the brother's spirit. And now, like Paul said, man, if you guys do marry, I'd rather you live like you're unmarried, right? And now the brother has no choice but to worry about your folly 24/7. Now the brother stopped making videos, right? Now that if he does make a video, in the middle of the video, he got a brain fart because he daydreaming about the folly that you did today, right? You know what I'm saying? Not only that, now the brother don't even feel confident to go out on the street, you know, because somebody might bring something up about the relationship, and then he might just start venting and going crazy, right? You know what I'm saying? And we've seen some of this stuff first and second hand, where you know a man just falls off because now he's worrying about, you know, his woman or his ex-woman, and he's not worrying about the due diligence that he has to do for the Most High, right? He done took his hand off the plow, right? That's why Paul was saying that, first of all, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, how much more as a woman can you make sure that your man is as mighty as he can be, right? Because a lot, you know, a man can be mighty, but a lot of that has to do with the woman that's by his side. You know what I'm saying? How mighty can you help your man become? A lot of that comes from being an actual pillar of rest and taking that stress off of him. Pecan.
Hey, even the little stuff, man. You know, the brother just made a mighty point. Like, you can't sit up here and be rebellious and in a sense think that you're gonna have like a king, but you treating him like he a peasant. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to, and there's been conversations before, even in my own household, where I say, look, I understand, you know, there's things that as a man, you know, I gotta definitely work on, and we have things that we can work on together. But it ain't gonna come by us being at odds with one another, you know, arguing back and forth. It's gonna come by you accepting the role of being my wife and helping me reach my full potential. You know what I'm saying? And again, these are blessings, right? Let me read verse 11 real quick. It says, "Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in the Lord." Verse 12, because it says, "For as woman is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman, but all things of the Most High." Right? Now, don't get that confused. We put seeds in women and they have babies and they birth men. That's literally all that is saying, right? Because women came from us. And the object for women is to be a pillar of rest unto us. And brothers, when you find that, again, your life is peaceful, man. You appreciate everything your wife does when she's, you know, doing her thing. When she's in crunch mode, you know, it's game 7. Clock is, you know what I'm saying, under 10 seconds. You got the last possession. You know, you need to score the rock. And your wife just get that dog face on. You begin to appreciate everything you do. Hey, I love my wife just started making bread, man. And I love that because she be really excited. She be trying to get me to smell the little sourdough bread that she making right now, but I'll be telling her to get out of my face with that. But, you know, I love that she loves to work with her hands. Even when my wife passed gas, man, I love it. I hate it at the same time, but I love it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I know, brother. Hey, brother's looking at me like, brother, what? But, you know, I enjoy these things, man, because, again, when you have a woman, you know, when you have a virtuous woman, man, you begin to find, like, you begin to find favor and you begin to appreciate everything that they do. And so that's why, again, this is just a lesson speaking to the brother specifically, man, find that type of woman.
To that point, man, you know, and it's so serious, man. I got with my wife for her the potential I knew that she was going to fulfill when she became a mother, when she became a wife, right? I knew she had the traits and the characteristics for it all. And to the point where I was appreciative before it even happened, you know, and you know, when we finally became with child and it was time for us to deliver, you know, being in the hospital and just, you know, seeing all the stuff that we was going through and knowing that, you know, I almost lost my child. But, you know, after my child was good, you know, I almost lost my wife. You know, everything was going so fast. The crash cart came in and all that stuff. And I'm just sitting in the lobby like, man, you know, I was banking on her being that virtuous woman for me, man. You know, it almost kind of brings you to tears because it's like, man, if she gone, what am I going to do? I was banking on her being a mother because I know she was good with kids. Me personally, you know, I'm cool with kids. You know, I say a little jokey joke here and there, but I don't know nothing about, I didn't know nothing about no kids. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting there banking on her. And, you know, that just hones in more on what the brother was saying, man. It drives home on that appreciativeness that we have for our wives, because man, I was appreciative for the stuff that she was going to do, and just knowing that she might have not been there to fulfill that stuff, man. Just the thought of it alone, not only would it, bring me to tears, but the thought of it alone would add stress to me. You know what I'm saying? And the double days that I had that was planned for me, man, I would have got grade real quick. You know what I'm saying? And it would call me to resort on other women for help that's not my rib, right? And it just causes a bunch of, a lot of things that that the Most High has blessed me with and made me appreciative of having a actual rib, a helpmeet, a woman, a wife, right? And so that appreciativeness is there, and the stuff you guys do does not go overlooked.
Con. Hey, remember, if the sister watching is married to the brother, remember the brother just said if you go, he gonna be a whoremonger because he got to rely on all these women that ain't his wife.
I was mostly talking about my mom.
Yeah,
her mom, probably my sister-in-law, more so of that nature, man. I probably wouldn't have even got out there and dated anytime soon, to be honest, but that's a whole another topic.
All right. Hey, but look, we've been on here for an hour, been on here for an hour, so
oh boys, it's about time to wrap it up. Some of the stuff
if brothers got anything to add in closing, I ain't got no more remarks, man. I just want to say, hey, Most High willing, you can go through some of these precepts, and there was a lot more that we could have went over, but you can go read Sirach 36, Sirach 26. I think it speaks of a good wife in Sirach 25 as well. Proverbs, Ephesians, 1 Corinthians, Timothy. There's all these accounts that talk about, a wife. I think in 1 Peter as well. But hey, don't shy away from having this. Don't rob yourself of the opportunity to have a virtuous woman, a pillar of rest, a woman that will make your days double, because it's a blessing, man. But with that, I yield.
Man, might make a reel. Of course, I have a good wife. I don't have to wake up at 3 a.m.
Nah.
Of course, I got a good wife. I get my feet rubbed every night.
hey, of course I got a good wife. Who else is going to scratch my back when I need it?
Of course I got a good wife. I don't have to change a diaper.
Yeah, I wish I could say that. You know what I'm saying? But hey, I got 60 kids, so I got to do my part. But hey, with that, man, we're going to say shalom. Again, Most High willing, you are edified. We'll be back on here for tomorrow. But if, like you say, if anybody want to reach out, talk to us, chop it up with us, our contact information is going across the bottom of the screen. And hey, just stay virtuous. All right. Shalom.
Shalom.
You're not scattering, you're gathering.
Con.
All right.